The crystalline vessel of the stellar Conquerors emerged from hyperspace in a brilliant flash of blue light, its massive form casting a shadow over the International Space Station as if it were merely a toy. The ship's surface caught Earth's sunlight, refracting it into countless rainbow patterns that danced across its hull. At 12 kilometers in length, it dwarfed anything humanity had ever constructed in space. Inside the vessel's observation deck, Chief Observer Xerath stood with his four arms clasped behind his back, his iridescent scales shifting color as he studied the blue planet below. His junior staff hurried around him, their data pads streaming with preliminary scan results of Earth's technological capabilities. Fascinating, Xerath murmured, his inner eyelids flickering in amusement. No orbital defense grid, no lunar installations, not even basic planetary shielding. He turned to address his gathering of junior observers, all fresh graduates from the Conquerors' prestigious Academy of Sinological Studies. Watch closely, young ones. This will be an excellent case study in primitive species integration. The youngest of his staff, Kala, raised her hand tentatively. Her scales showed a pattern of scholarly curiosity, pale blue with flecks of silver. Sir, according to historical records, this species has achieved nuclear fission and even sent primitive probes beyond their solar system. Shouldn't they be more advanced by now? Xerath's scales rippled with patronizing amusement. An astute observation, Kala. However, achieving basic atomic physics and launching a few metal boxes into space hardly qualifies as true advancement. He gestured to the massive holographic display showing Earth's surface. Observe their continued reliance on fossil fuels. Note the absence of any significant space-based infrastructure. They haven't even established a proper colony on their moon. The junior observers dutifully took notes, their scales shifting in synchronized patterns of understanding. One of them, Monitor Zeleth, pulled up a comparison chart. Their most advanced computers still use silicon-based processors. They haven't even begun to explore quantum computing on any meaningful scale. Xerath nodded approvingly. Precisely. This is why the Conquerors' intervention is so crucial. Without our guidance, they might spend centuries fumbling in the technological dark. He expanded the holographic display, highlighting the planet's major cities. Prepare the first contact protocols. We'll begin with their largest governing body, the United Nations, I believe they call it. As the staff bustled about preparing diplomatic channels, Kala remained at her station, her head tilted slightly as she studied the sensor readings. Something about the electromagnetic patterns around the planet seemed odd. But before she could analyze them further, Xerath's voice caught her attention. Kala, prepare the developmental timeline presentation. Make sure to include plenty of simple visual aids. We don't want to overwhelm them with too much complexity. The massive ship moved into a stable orbit, its sensors continuing to map Earth's surface. Smaller scout vessels deployed, their crystalline forms glinting as they took up positions around the planet. To human observers, they appeared as new stars in the daylight sky, their presence both beautiful and intimidating. In the ship's diplomatic preparation chamber, Xerath reviewed the standard first contact package. It included technological gifts that would seem impressive to a primitive species, basic medical regenerators, simple energy converters, and elementary spaceflight improvements. Nothing too advanced, of course. It wouldn't do to give them technology they weren't ready to handle responsibly. Send the initial communication burst, Xerath commanded. Let's see how quickly they can decode a simple transmission matrix. As the signal was sent, he allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. Another primitive species to guide, another feather in his career crown. The Conquerors' mission of uplifting less developed civilizations would continue, and Earth would become just another success story in their long history of benevolent intervention. Little did Xerath know that his assumptions about Earth's capabilities would soon be challenged in ways he couldn't imagine. The simple, primitive species he thought he was dealing with had secrets buried far deeper than the Concordat sensors had yet probed. The United Nations General Assembly Hall buzzed with unprecedented energy as delegates from every nation gathered for humanity's first official contact with alien life. The chamber's usual formal atmosphere had given way to a mix of excitement, apprehension, and barely contained awe. At the center of it all stood Dr. Sarah Chen, Earth's chosen chief negotiator, her calm demeanor a stark contrast to the tension surrounding her. Overhead, holographic projectors installed by the Concordat's technical team cast a soft, bluish glow across the assembly. The technology itself was a none too subtle reminder of the vast technological gap between the two civilizations, or at least what the Concordat believed that gap to be. His Earth made his entrance with calculated grandeur, his crystalline ceremonial robes catching and refracting light in mesmerizing patterns. 4 junior observers followed in his wake, including Kala, whose scales still showed traces of uncertainty from her earlier sensor observations. Esteemed representatives of Earth, Xerath began, his translator converting his harmonic speech into perfect UN standard English. The Stellar Concordat welcomes you to the greater galactic community. He gestured with his upper arms, and a massive holographic display materialized above the assembly. Allow me to share with you our preliminary assessment of your civilization's development. The display showed a comparative timeline, with Earth's technological progress marked in red against the Concordat's standard development curve in shimmering blue. The difference was stark, and clearly intended to be. As you can see, Xerath continued, his scales shifting to what his species considered a teaching pattern. Your civilization has achieved approximately 12% of expected developmental milestones for a species of your age. Your energy infrastructure remains largely dependent on burning fossil materials. Your space presence is minimal. Your computational systems are rudimentary. Dr. Chen watched the presentation with that same enigmatic smile she'd worn since the beginning. Her hands remained folded calmly in her lap, her posture relaxed despite the murmurs of indignation rising from various delegates. Xerath activated another display, this one showing Earth's current defense capabilities, or rather, what their sensors had detected of them. Your military technology relies heavily on kinetic weapons and primitive explosive devices. You have no planetary shields, no orbital defense systems, not even basic atmospheric interference fields. Kala, monitoring the human reactions from her position, noticed something peculiar. While most delegates showed signs of embarrassment or anger at Xerath's assessment, a small group of military officials in the back of the room seemed almost amused. She made a note to investigate further. However, do not be discouraged, Xerath announced magnanimously. The Concordat stands ready to guide your species toward proper technological advancement. We have prepared a basic assistance package that will help you begin your journey towards civilization-grade capabilities. Dr. Chen finally stood, smoothing her jacket with deliberate slowness. The people of Earth thank the Stellar Concordat for their thorough assessment of our capabilities. Her voice carried a hint of something that made Kala's scales prickle with uncertainty. We look forward to learning more about your civilization and sharing knowledge of our own. Xerath's scales flickered with satisfaction at what he interpreted as humble acceptance. Excellent. We will begin by upgrading your primary power generation facilities to basic fusion reactors. Nothing too advanced, of course. We wouldn't want to overwhelm your infrastructure. Of course not, Dr. Chen agreed, that mysterious smile never wavering. Though I would be curious to hear more about your sensor technology. Its capabilities seem quite specific. Something in her tone made Kala look up sharply from her datapad. The human's question seemed innocent enough, but there was an undertone that suggested more than simple curiosity. Xerath, however, missed the subtlety entirely. Our sensor arrays are among the most sophisticated in known space. They can detect any energy signature, any technological advancement, any hidden installation. He paused for effect. Not that you have any of those to detect. A few of the military officials in the back actually chuckled at that, quickly disguising it as coughs. Dr. Chen's smile widened just a fraction, and for a moment, Kala could have sworn she saw a glimmer of something like predatory satisfaction in the human's eyes. The sensor lab aboard the Concordat vessel hummed with quiet energy as Kala reviewed her readings for the 7th time. Her scales had shifted to a deep purple of concentration, tiny flecks of gold appearing as she noticed yet another anomaly in the data. The midnight shift had seemed the perfect time to investigate without interruption, but what she'd found was keeping her wide awake. "This can't be right," she muttered, her inner eyelids flickering rapidly as she compared different scan results. The surface readings matched perfectly with Xerath's assessment, a primitive civilization still dependent on fossil fuels and basic nuclear fission. But deeper scans told a different story. She isolated a particular energy signature detected beneath the Rocky Mountains. According to their database, it resembled quantum fluctuation patterns, but that was impossible. Humans weren't supposed to have quantum technology. Yet there it was, pulsing steadily in her readings. A soft chime indicated someone entering the lab. Kala quickly minimized her displays, her scales shifting to a neutral blue. Monitor Zeleth approached, carrying his own datavat. "Still chasing sensor ghosts?" he asked, his scales showing patterns of gentle mockery. "You should get some rest. Tomorrow we begin upgrading their first power plant. Xerath wants all observers present to document their reactions to real technology." Kala hesitated, then made a decision. "Zeleth, look at this." She brought up a comparative display. "These are the energy signatures we expect from a pre-spacefaring civilization." She pointed to the standard readings. "And these." She pulled up her deep scan data. "These are what I'm detecting beneath the surface." Zeleth's scales shifted to skeptical yellow. "Clearly a malfunction. Run a diagnostic on the sensor array." "I did. 3 times." Kala pulled up another display. "And it's not just the Rocky Mountains. There's similar readings under the Himalayas, the Mariana Trench, and dozens of other locations. They form a pattern." "Nonsense," Zeleth dismissed. "Their most advanced facility is that primitive space station. Their computers still use silicon chips. They don't even have basic antimatter containment." "That's what bothers me," Kala insisted. "Everything on the surface seems almost too perfectly primitive." Like what?" "Like a facade." Zeleth's scales rippled with laughter. "You've been reading too many tactical histories. Next you'll suggest they're hiding a fleet of stealth dreadnoughts in their oceans." He patted her shoulder condescendingly. "Focus on your assigned duties. Leave the major assessments to Xerath." After Zeleth left, Kala returned to her scans with renewed determination. She calibrated the sensors to an even deeper frequency, something that would penetrate further into Earth's crust. As the new data streamed in, her scales shifted to shocked white. The energy signatures weren't random. They formed networks, connecting different underground locations in patterns too regular to be natural. And there was something else. A strange distortion in Earth's magnetic field that their initial scans had dismissed as normal planetary variation. Kala cross-referenced the distortion with known technological signatures. No matches in the Concordat database. No matches with any known civilization. This was something new, something different. She thought back to the United Nations meeting, to Dr. Chen's subtle smile, and those military officials who seemed amused rather than offended by Xerath's condescension. What did they know that the Concordat didn't? A warning flashed on her screen. Another sensor ghost, this time in the Atlantic Ocean. For a fraction of a second, energy readings had spiked to levels that rivaled Concordat technology, then vanished as if they'd never existed. But Kala had seen it, and her scales shifted to determined green. She began composing a formal report to Xerath. The humans were hiding something big, and she intended to find out what it was, even if it meant challenging everything the Concordat thought they knew about this primitive species. Xerath's scales had lost all color as he studied Kala's report in the command center of the Concordat vessel. The young observer stood before him, her own scales a mix of excitement and apprehension as she waited for his response. Around them, senior analysts worked frantically to verify her findings. "Impossible," Xerath whispered, but his scales betrayed his growing uncertainty. This would mean they'd been hiding their true capabilities all along, Kala finished. She gestured to the holographic display showing Earth's subsurface scan results. The network extends throughout their entire planet. These aren't just bunkers or storage facilities. They're fully operational research and development centers. The main screen showed a three-dimensional map of Earth's underground complexes. Brilliant points of light marked quantum energy signatures, connected by lines of power that pulsed with activity. What had initially appeared to be natural geological formations now revealed themselves as carefully disguised entrances and ventilation systems. A senior analyst approached with new data. "Sir, we've confirmed the quantum entanglement readings. They're using it for instantaneous communication between facilities. Our initial scans missed it because we weren't looking for quantum signatures at that depth." Xerath's inner eyelids flickered rapidly. "How many facilities?" "At least 300 major complexes," Kala reported. "And those are just the ones we can detect. The energy distortion patterns suggest there might be more shielded from our scans." The command center's door slid open, and Dr. Chen walked in, escorted by two startled Concordat security officers. "I believe," she said with that same calm smile, "this would be a good time to have a frank discussion about Earth's technological status." Xerath's scales shifted to diplomatic azure, despite his shock. "You knew we'd find them." "Eventually," Dr. Chen acknowledged. "Though Kala's thoroughness impressed us. Most species don't think to scan below the major mountain ranges." She nodded appreciatively at the young observer. The holographic display updated, showing new data from deeper scans. Beneath the oceans, massive structures came into focus, not military bases, but research facilities dedicated to everything from quantum physics to dark matter manipulation. The Cold War, Dr. Chen explained, taught humanity a valuable lesson about displaying power. When everyone shows their full strength, the only possible outcome is escalation. But when you hide your capabilities, she gestured to the underground networks, you maintain strategic advantage. Another analyst rushed forward. "Sir, we've detected quantum computing cores in these facilities. Their processing power, it exceeds our projected capabilities for their civilization by at least 3 centuries. We developed most of it in secret," Dr. Chen said. "While the world's attention focused on silicon chips and conventional computers, our quantum research proceeded undisturbed." The same strategy applied to every major technological field. Kala's scales showed patterns of realization. The fossil fuel infrastructure, the primitive satellites, a carefully maintained facade, Dr. Chen confirmed. Though they do still serve a purpose. Not everything needs to run on quantum cores or dark matter reactors. Xerath struggled to process this revelation. But the development timeline, the technological progression, is exactly what we wanted you to see, Dr. Chen said. Humanity learned long ago that appearing weak while being strong is far more advantageous than the reverse. Your arrival simply confirmed our approach was correct. The command center fell silent as new scan results appeared on the main display. The underground facilities weren't just research centers. They were part of an interconnected planetary defense system more sophisticated than anything the Concordat had anticipated. Humanity hadn't built shields because they had developed something far more subtle and possibly far more effective. They had turned their entire planet into a technological labyrinth, hiding their true capabilities beneath a carefully crafted veneer of primitiveness. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, the Concordat delegation followed Dr. Chen through pristine white corridors that hummed with hidden power. Xerath, Kala, and a team of senior analysts had been granted access to one of Earth's primary research facilities. Their scales shifted through patterns of awe as they witnessed humanity's true technological achievements. Each nuclear test we conducted had a dual purpose, Dr. Chen explained, leading them into a vast circular chamber. Holographic displays filled the air, showing Earth's magnetic field writhing like a living thing. While the world focused on the explosions, we were actually mapping the planet's electromagnetic potential. Kala stepped forward, her scales showing intense scientific curiosity. You weren't building traditional shields because you'd found a different solution. Exactly. Dr. Chen gestured, and the holographic display zoomed in to show complex energy patterns flowing through Earth's magnetic field. Why build energy shields when your planet already has a natural defense system? We simply learned to enhance and control it. A scientist approached with a tablet displaying technical specifications. The Concordat analysts clustered around it, their scales paling as they understood the implications. Earth scientists hadn't just mapped the magnetic field, they'd found a way to weaponize it. The nuclear program was never just about bombs. Dr. Chen continued. Each detonation helped us understand how to manipulate electromagnetic fields on a massive scale. We can now create localized magnetic pulses capable of deflecting or destroying incoming threats. Sirith's inner eyelids flickered rapidly, but the energy requirements are handled by our quantum tap network. Dr. Chen led them to another section of the facility. Here, massive cylinders pulsed with blue-white light, extending from floor to ceiling. These devices draw power directly from quantum fluctuations in spacetime. The entire network can be activated in seconds. Kala's scales shifted to a pattern of revelation. The energy signatures I detected, they weren't random spikes. No, Dr. Chen confirmed. You were detecting routine system tests. We maintain constant readiness, but keep power levels low enough to avoid detection by casual scans. The delegation moved to a central control room where operators monitored global defense systems. Holographic displays showed hundreds of hidden facilities working in concert, maintaining Earth's invisible shield of electromagnetic force. Perhaps most importantly, Dr. Chen said, pulling up new data, the system is completely distributed. Destroying any single facility, or even dozens of them, wouldn't disable our defensive capabilities. A technician activated a demonstration, causing a small section of Earth's magnetic field to ripple visibly. Sensors on the Concordat vessel detected nothing, proving how effectively humans had mastered the art of energy containment. Your assessment that we lacked planetary shields was technically correct, Dr. Chen noted with a slight smile. We simply chose a different approach, one that couldn't be detected or countered using standard Concordat protocols. Sirith's scales showed patterns of diplomatic concern. Why reveal this to us now? Because true alliance requires trust, Dr. Chen replied. And because your young observer had already discovered enough to raise serious questions, we prefer to control the narrative of our reveal. The delegation watched as another test activated, this one showing how Earth's magnetic defense system could selectively target threats while allowing friendly vessels to pass. The level of precision was extraordinary. Humanity has never been defenseless, Dr. Chen concluded. We simply learned that the best shield is one your adversary doesn't know exists. Now that you understand our true capabilities, we hope to establish a more equal diplomatic relationship. Kala noticed something in the data streams, patterns suggesting even more hidden systems, technologies not yet revealed. Her scales shifted to show admiration. Even now, humans were maintaining their strategy of controlled revelation, showing enough to establish respect while keeping other capabilities in reserve. The Concordat's military analysis chamber aboard their vessel had been running simulations for 12 hours straight. Sirith stood surrounded by his top strategists, their scales shifting through various patterns of concern as each new piece of intelligence about Earth's capabilities emerged. "Show me the deep ocean readings again," he commanded. The holographic display shifted to reveal vast underwater complexes that humans had supposedly built for marine research. The energy signatures coming from these facilities rivaled anything in the Concordat's fleet. "Sir," a senior analyst reported, her scales a troubled gray, "we've completed our assessment of their weather satellite network." She brought up a new display showing Earth's orbital infrastructure. They're not weather satellites. At least, not entirely. Calla stepped forward, her own research adding to the revelation. Each satellite contains quantum entanglement cores. They've created a planetary early warning system disguised as meteorological equipment. The entire network could be weaponized in moments. The simulation chamber filled with new data as the Concordat's best minds struggled to understand the full scope of human innovation. What had seemed like primitive space junk now revealed itself as one of the most sophisticated orbital defense grids they'd ever encountered. "Their strategic doctrine is unique," observed the chief military advisor, his scales showing reluctant admiration. While other species raced to build bigger shields and more powerful weapons, humans developed methods to hide their true capabilities within seemingly harmless infrastructure. A junior analyst rushed in with fresh data from the Pacific Ocean scans. "Sir, we've detected antimatter containment signatures. The humans have been manufacturing and storing antimatter in underwater facilities." Sirith's scales paled. "Impossible. Their energy grid shows no sign of antimatter production capability." "That's because they're powering the facilities directly from geothermal vents," Calla explained, pulling up detailed scans. "The heat signature blends perfectly with the natural underwater volcanic activity. We never thought to look for artificial patterns within natural phenomena." The holographic display updated to show a global network far more sophisticated than anyone had imagined. Weather satellites doubled as defense platforms. Undersea research stations concealed antimatter production facilities. Even their primitive-looking communications infrastructure contained hidden quantum technologies. "Most concerning," the chief military advisor noted, "is that we still can't detect all of their capabilities. Their mastery of concealment technologies suggests there may be entire defense systems we haven't discovered yet." A strategic simulation played out in the chamber, showing potential conflict scenarios. In every simulation, the apparently primitive Earth revealed another layer of hidden defenses. The Concordat's traditional military doctrine proved useless against an enemy that had turned their entire planet into a technological enigma. "Their approach to planetary defense is unprecedented," Calla observed, her scales showing scientific fascination. "Instead of building obvious shields and weapons, they develop technologies that serve dual purposes. Everything on Earth's surface seems designed to conceal something more advanced beneath." The simulation chamber fell silent as the final analysis appeared on the main display. Earth's defensive capabilities, while different from standard Concordat protocols, made conventional military action against the planet virtually impossible. The cost in ships and lives would be catastrophic. "They haven't built shields," Xerith murmured, his scales showing dawning understanding. "Because their entire planet is a shield. Every piece of infrastructure, every satellite, every underwater facility. It's all part of a defensive system so subtle we didn't even recognize it as technology." Calla's scales shifted to show realization. That's why they seemed so confident during first contact. They knew that even if we discovered their deception, we'd find a defense system we couldn't easily counter. The chief military advisor's scales displayed the formal pattern of official recommendation. "We must revise our assessment of human civilization. Their technological advancement may exceed our own in ways we have yet to understand." The Concordat's diplomatic chamber had been redesigned overnight. Gone were the condescending displays of technological superiority, replaced by interfaces showing Earth and Concordat systems as equals. Ambassador Trinlax, newly appointed after Xerith's reassignment, stood before the human delegation with scales showing genuine respect. "The Stellar Concordat wishes to formally apologize for our previous assumptions," Trinlax began, his translator conveying sincerity in every word. "We now understand that we gravely misinterpreted Earth's technological status." Dr. Chen sat across the negotiation table, accompanied by a small team of human scientists and military advisors. The smiles they'd worn during previous meetings had transformed into expressions of professional courtesy. They no longer needed to maintain the facade of bemused tolerance. "Your apology is accepted," Dr. Chen responded. "Though I must admit, Kala's discovery of our subsurface networks came sooner than we anticipated. She shows remarkable potential." Kala, now promoted to senior observer, stood at Trinlax's side, her scales glowing with pride. "The true achievement belongs to humanity," she said. "Your ability to hide such advanced technology in plain sight is unprecedented in our records." The main display activated, showing a real-time overlay of Earth's newly revealed defense systems working in harmony. Quantum communications pulsed between hidden facilities. The magnetic shield rippled with controlled power. Orbital platforms maintained their vigilant watch, no longer pretending to be simple weather satellites. "We've prepared a comprehensive technological exchange proposal," Trinlax announced, bringing up new data. "The Concordat offers access to our faster-than-light drive systems and energy production methods. In return, we hope to learn from Earth's innovations in concealment technology and quantum engineering." Dr. Chen examined the proposal with careful attention. "Your offer is generous, but we notice it doesn't include your biological enhancement technologies or planetary terraforming systems." Trinlax's scales shifted to show diplomatic caution. "Those technologies are typically reserved for more advanced." "Ambassador," Dr. Chen interrupted gently, "let me show you something we haven't revealed yet." She activated a secure datapad, and new information flooded the diplomatic chamber's displays. The Concordat delegation's scales collectively paled. Hidden beneath Antarctica's ice sheets, humans had already developed biological research facilities that matched or exceeded Concordat capabilities. Their terraforming experiments, disguised as climate research, had progressed far beyond what anyone had suspected. "How did you?" Trinlax began. "The same way we developed everything else," Dr. Chen explained. "By understanding that true advancement doesn't require public display. Every scientific breakthrough, every technological achievement, was developed in secret, while the world focused on more visible projects." Kala's scales showed patterns of sudden understanding. The climate change debates, the public focus on fossil fuels, all served their purpose, Dr. Chen confirmed. They kept attention focused where we wanted it, while our real work continued unobserved. Trinlax's scales shifted to show newfound admiration. "We propose a revised agreement. Full technological exchange, as equals. The Concordat acknowledges that humanity's approach to development offers valuable lessons for all spacefaring species." The chamber's atmosphere changed as both delegations realized they were witnessing a historic moment, the beginning of a genuine partnership between equals, each bringing unique strengths to the alliance. "We accept," Dr. Chen said, "with one condition. Earth maintains independent control of its defense systems. We've learned the value of technological sovereignty." "Agreed," Trinlax responded, his scales showing the formal pattern of treaty acceptance. "Though I suspect you have even more surprises waiting to be revealed." Dr. Chen's subtle smile returned. "Ambassador, the art of strategic advancement isn't just about hiding capabilities. It's about knowing when to reveal them and when to keep them in reserve." The great hall of the stellar Concordat's High Council gleamed with crystalline light as representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered for an unprecedented ceremony. Earth's reclassification from a Class D, developing civilization, to a Class B, advanced species, had drawn attention from across the galaxy. Kala, now serving as Earth's primary liaison, stood beside Dr. Chen as they prepared to address the assembly. The young observer's scales showed a complex pattern of excitement and pride. She had become the foremost expert on human innovation within the Concordat. "The Council recognizes Earth," announced the High Speaker, his scales radiating formal authority. "We gather to acknowledge our error in judgment and to welcome humanity as equals in the galactic community." The main display activated, showing a comprehensive analysis of Earth's true technological status. Many council members' scales shifted to patterns of disbelief as they witnessed the full scope of human achievement. Humanity's approach to advancement challenges our fundamental assumptions, Kala began. While we focused on visible signs of progress, they developed a doctrine of hidden innovation that proved remarkably effective. Dr. Chen stepped forward. For centuries, Earth's nations competed openly in space, weapons, and technology. The results were predictable: escalation, conflict, and waste. Then we asked ourselves, what if we competed in secrecy instead? The display showed historical footage of the Cold War, but now revealed the hidden facilities and research programs that had operated beneath the surface of public awareness. Every nuclear test helped develop our magnetic shield technology. Dr. Chen continued. Every space race advance concealed quantum research. Every climate study masked terraforming experiments. We turned our entire civilization into a laboratory of hidden progress. A council member's scales showed skepticism, but surely such secrecy hindered scientific collaboration. On the contrary, Kala responded, Earth's hidden facilities formed the most sophisticated research network we've ever encountered. They simply kept it concealed until the right moment. The display shifted to show Earth's current status, a planet whose very infrastructure doubled as an advanced defense system, whose seemingly primitive satellites contained cutting-edge technology, and whose underwater facilities housed wonders still being discovered. The Conquerors has always valued visible achievements, Dr. Chen noted. Towering cities, massive ships, planetary shields that everyone can see. Humanity chose a different path, one of subtle power and hidden strength. New data streamed across the display as more of Earth's capabilities came to light. The Council watched in amazement as humans demonstrated technologies that approached or exceeded Conquerors standards in numerous fields. We propose, the High Speaker announced, that other worlds learn from Earth's example. The humans have shown us that true advancement need not be visible to be effective. Kala's scales shifted to show a pattern of revelation. Perhaps most importantly, they've taught us to question our assumptions about technological progress. A civilization without planetary shields might instead have magnetic field manipulation. A species without antimatter factories might be producing it in underwater volcanoes. And most crucially, Dr. Chen added with that familiar subtle smile, they've shown us that appearing weak while being strong is far more advantageous than the reverse. The council chamber hummed with discussion as representatives began to understand the full implications of Earth's strategy. They had encountered something new, a civilization that had turned secrecy itself into a technological advantage. The age of obvious power is ending, the High Speaker concluded. Earth has shown us a new path, one of hidden strength and strategic revelation. Let this mark the beginning of a new era in galactic civilization. As the ceremony concluded, Kala noticed Dr. Chen making notes on her datapad. Her enhanced vision caught a glimpse of plans for something called Project Eclipse before the screen darkened. Even now, humanity wasn't revealing everything, and perhaps that was their greatest lesson of all.